Hi, everyone. Hi, Fajer. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very nice. Good as well. It's so great to be here at NOAH and on stage together with you. And Fajer, you founded Oxyle as your company and your startup in 2020. And with Wingman, we had the honor to join you on your journey 1.5 years ago. And ever since, you've been on a crazy journey to pursue your vision of cleaning our bodies of water globally. And maybe you could share a little bit your journey with us and your background, and especially why you're doing what you're doing today.
Of course. Thanks for the great question. So, I come from a place called Kashmir. It's a beautiful place where Kashmir comes from. It's the north of India. If anyone has been there or seen pictures, you would know what kind of a strong connection everyone has to water and to natural resources. It's unfortunately also a place where there's a lot of political crisis, so I ended up growing up in New Delhi, the capital of India, where the connection to water is actually the polar opposite. You don't have access to clean water, and you don't have it when you need it. So this has always been a strong personal connection to me that if I have the privilege and honor to do something in the future, I would like to focus my resources and my efforts to find a solution to this. So when I had the opportunity to pursue a doctoral research, this was a topic I went for, where I wanted to invent new materials, new science that can really tackle this problem and circumvent the problems that we have currently. And that was basically the founding of Oxyle in 2020 as well, after the finishing of my PhD. And once we founded Oxyle, it was really important to also find the right people who can help us in our journey. And it was during this time when we also met Alex and Antonia as well from Wingman Ventures. And since they joined this journey with us, this has been a crazy ride, but I think a lot of that is also coming from the energy and the support we have from you guys to really take the tech, which is about destroying these toxic, persistent micropollutants from water for our industrial customers, but also for our municipal customers, and really providing them with the much-needed relief that they need in terms of regulations, but also in terms of the social impact and the environmental impact that we can create. So glad to be on this journey with you, with the support, with the momentum we have gotten since we're part of the portfolio.
And so first of all, thank you for saying that, but also before we come directly to your solution, maybe let's stay a little bit more with the problem and what exactly you're doing. So, I mean, we are in a sustainability conference here today, and there has been quite a lot of momentum around especially water tech in the whole sustainability space. And there have been like now generalist VCs that want to invest in water tech. We have like all the like very focused VCs in clean tech and climate tech that go into water tech. We have new water tech VCs coming up, and in this water tech community, specifically PFAS is a keyword now and is a very known word. And you know, for those of us in this room, including myself, that don't have a PhD in micro and nanotechnology, maybe you can guide us. What are PFAS and why are PFAS a problem, and how big is that problem?
Yeah. That's a really great question. If people haven't heard of the word PFAS, maybe they've heard of the word forever chemicals. Like if you open the newspaper, you will really see it in a lot of the headlines today. So what are forever chemicals or PFAS? In a simple way, they are compounds that have a carbon and fluorine atom, a bond basically. They're a problem because this is actually one of the most hardest bonds to break in nature. It's extremely strong, and you need extremely strong material to break this bond. Otherwise, it just stays in the bodies of water, it stays in the human blood, it stays in a food that we eat. These chemicals were invented about in 1970s because they have amazing properties, right? They are waterproof, you know. You can't make semiconductors, you can't make a laptop, you can't fly today without them. Our raincoats when we go hiking, made from PFAS. If you need waterproof cosmetics, that has PFAS. It's really in every aspect of our life. We cannot live without them. We can't just simply replace them tomorrow, which is why it becomes a problem, because they're very persistent, they're very good at what they do, which also makes them very hard to degrade, to treat. And that is why we've seen over 20,000 different sites, just in Europe itself, which are heavily contaminated by these toxic, mobile, persistent chemicals. And the current technologies out there are really failing us. They are not efficient, they cannot be scaled, and most importantly, they don't let our customers actually meet the regulations, so they have to pay huge fines for that. So there's a huge void in this space, and I'm extremely happy to see, even if it's discouraging to see bad headlines like they're everywhere, it's important that there is this highlight on that, because companies like Oxyle really are bringing a solution to this problem, right? We are really getting rid of that, so it's nice to have this sort of focal point on the problem, which was long forgotten, but has been there for decades, and now it's really in the forefront. You talk about water, you talk about water tech, you think about PFAS, or forever chemicals, and I think it's high time, even if you have 20,000 sites all over Europe already contaminated.
So I understood that PFAS are very toxic, or like forever chemicals, and they are everywhere because they contaminate our bodies of water, and we are drinking it, which sounds very bad. Now, how are you solving that problem with Oxyle?
So we have a very novel approach to this problem. The conventional solutions that exist are either absorbing it or filtering these chemicals from water. The problem there is you just shift the problem from one place to another. You don't actually solve the problem. You just concentrate the problem. What we are doing at Oxyle is we are actually destroying these chemicals with the help of a catalyst. So it's a novel material, a nanoporous catalytic oxidation reduction treatment, with which in real time, within a few minutes, you basically start degrading and destroying these molecules and convert them into harmless byproducts that can be easily released into the water. And that is the only way to treat this problem. It's not by shifting. It is through actual degradation during treatment, and that's basically how we solve it.
Now, you mentioned a little bit before, you spoke about your customers, and you also mentioned that like how many sites, I think you said more than 20,000 in Europe alone are contaminated, that is groundwater being contaminated. Who are your customers now? Like, could you map that out a little bit?
Of course. So our customers are the people who are actually, unfortunately, contaminating the environments, because they need these chemicals to produce the goods you and I use every single day. So these would include, for example, chemical companies who need to produce, for example, our pharmaceuticals or pesticides, packaging materials, textile companies. So all these companies who are producing these goods, they need these chemicals to produce them, but they also generate a lot of wastewater during the production, which needs to be treated, which is regulated. At the same time, they also end up contaminating the areas around the facilities because they don't have good treatment. So we do two kinds of projects with the customers, where we treat their industrial wastewater, but we also help them basically treat their environmental remediation water, which they have contaminated. So groundwater and soil wash water. So always having the customer, which are industrial in nature, as our focal point, basically.
Are there any customers that you can name?
I don't know if that's considered a good thing, but I can mention one customer segment, which we have just finished a really super important pilot with. That's BASF and Syngenta, with which we worked on an industrial pilot of 6 months, treating their PFAS and pesticides at the removal percentages they wanted. So 99% removal for 6 months, stable performance at 15 times lower energy than the next competition that we have. So a great success story for Oxyle for this year, but next year it's going to be even bigger and better, because now we're going full scale with them for product installation. So that's one of the many global companies, and there's a lot of them in the pipeline.
I also heard that over the last year, like you've been present everywhere, and you also, like, one of your other tasks was to extend your team and to keep on scaling yourself and adding more superstars to Oxyle. And I heard that you just recently hired the former COO of Climeworks, one of the very well-known Swiss unicorns that was with the company for more than a decade now. And I mean, Climeworks is a household name by now. It's a company that raised more than 700 million in funding, and now the former CEO joined you as a company that raised 3 million now in funding. So how did you, when you told me that, I mean, I almost fell off my chair. So how did you convince someone like that to join you now so early on your journey?
I think the most important thing of being an entrepreneur is being very honest and humble about what you're trying to build and really have the passion to communicate that. If you're talking to superstars like Dom, who we just hired from Climeworks, he's a growth mindset individual. He wants to make an impact, and your job as an entrepreneur is to tell him what kind of impact we can make, guide him through that process so he makes the right choice with you. And it's just showing the impact and the team and the culture. All these different aspects are really important to draw superstars like him to Oxyle. And we are solving a global problem where there is no good solution. And sky is the limit, or water is the limit, let's say. So it was a very easy sell.
That's fantastic to hear. And you've been all over the place this year on conferences and events. You're also currently raising around. And given that NOAH is hopefully your last conference this year,
Yes,
I hope for you, what would you like to get out of this conference now here today, and who should approach you?
That's true. We're raising a 10 million seed round. So anyone who's interested in impact investing in the water tech space, who wants to make a difference, please reach out to me. I'm talking to really interesting people who see the long-term vision of how important it is to have clean water and how important it is to make a difference in this space. So I'm looking for impact-driven investors who see the big picture and want to, make our world better with clean water.
That is a very impressive vision, and I just also saw the time a little bit blinking. So thank you so much, Fajer, for sharing your vision and for cleaning our bodies of water so we can drink better water. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, Antonia.